Yo, what's going on, guys? And Taylor Jenkins has been fired by the Memphis Grizzlies. And to me, it's an interesting one. The Grizzlies had completely changed out his staff before this season. Basically, they had five coaches now return, and they had Patrick St. Andrews, Tuomas Iisalo, Anthony Carter, Patrick Mutombo, Noah LaRoche, Joe Boylan, Jason March, Eric Schmidt all joined the coaching staff this year, and now they parted ways. As this is a team that, if you guys have not been following, they have the 9th hardest schedule. Shout out Bobby Marks for that. And Memphis is tied with the Lakers for 4th in the West. They're a game behind 3rd seed Denver. They're also 2 games from being in the play-in. The Grizzlies have lost 4 out of their last 5, and they're 8-11 since the All-Star break. Ja Morant has missed 8 of the last 19 games. So to me, I think that is definitely interesting. They're 28-15 with Morant, and they're 16-14 without Morant this season. And Taylor Jenkins, according to Shams Charania, was called into the Grizzlies office this morning, was fired in person. It's, again, a stunning dismissal. Jenkins is now going to be one of the top head coaching candidates in this offseason's head coach cycle. This is a man who had a 53.9% winning ratio as the Grizzlies head coach. So let's just talk about, they haven't formally announced who's going to be the replacements, but the Finnish coach, Tuomas Iisalo, is the lead assistant on this squad, and he's an interesting one because he's from Finland. He's a former shooting guard, and he transitioned to coaching after his playing career, and he had head coaching positions in Finland, Germany, and coached in France, and he had Paris basketball to Euro Cup in 23-24. So he's a guy who understands high-paced offense, three-point shooting. Paris basketball is ran by David Kahn, who's a former Minnesota Timberwolves assistant before early 2010s. Didn't have, a lot of people would say he wasn't a great NBA exec, but since going overseas, he has become a really good exec. And he's recognized for just being a really good, Tuomas Iisalo is known as a really, really good offensive coach, three-point shooting, offensive rebounding, and making his teams more effective. He doesn't come from any specific coaching tree. Now, Patrick St. Andrews, he was part of the previous season staffs, and he's one of the few survivors. And he's going to be a guy who's probably going to, if he's named assistant, he's going to continue doing what probably Taylor Jenkins has instilled. And a lot of these guys are probably going to do that, but they would just have their different ways of going about it. But I think one thing, Anthony Carter, who himself is a former assistant coach with the Miami Heat, and he's actually a former NBA player, Devin Carter's dad. He's a guy who's been credited helping Gigi Jackson develop, and he's a no-nonsense guy. Patrick Mutombo was a leading, head coach candidate in past cycles, and he's been an assistant with the Suns, the Raptors, the Nuggets, and the Bucks. He's known as a tacticianist, really good, supposedly in-game adjustments guy, and he has a lot of philosophies. Noah LaRoche, he's another guy who's a new one. He's more of a player development coach. I think it will be really jumping the hierarchy. And Joe Boylan actually was first at Grizzlies player development. Then he went to the Timberwolves and Bucks under what seems like, I think, Chris Finch and then Adrian Griffin. Seems like he has Toronto Raptors ties. And he's a data analytics approach guy. Maybe another one, like we said earlier, and who could be leaping a little bit. Then Jason March was the former Memphis Hustles coach, and then he was promoted. He might be a head coach down the road, but that's the thing. Same thing with Eric Schmidt. He's former video coordinator. This guy's would just be leaping a bit, but clearly this is a team that needed a fresh start, and just they are hoping. I think if you look back when David Blatt was fired, obviously we knew there were obvious cracks and problems going on behind the scenes. To me, the difference now, that one happened way earlier in the season. They got it out. ahead of time. And this one, the difference is they're doing it right before the playoffs. So I think they see it as, look, if we're going to do anything this year in the playoffs, it's going to be as a result of a coaching change coming in and reinvigorating the boys, while they think if they don't do something like that, it's just might be them committing the rule of insanity and doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. So I think for them, they're hoping that you bring in a new coach. Either way, you find out if a coach you like on your staff is legit and he's going to help get you over the edge, or you're going to find out that you're going to have to go into the coaching search and find a championship head coach that may or may not become available this offseason, or just another, bright-minded coach. So I think that's what you're dealing with if you're the Grizzlies, and you understand that like the timeline is now, you don't have much time to wait. And yeah, is it a little awkward? Is the timing weird? Yeah, sure, but you're trying to win a championship. You're not trying to make friends. So I understand that, hey, if you believe that by doing this, you're going to be able to finally get over the hump and to win, to do what you guys have basically said, oh, we are so close. We've been so close for so long. So it feels like now is the time where if you've been this close for this long, you got to get the monkey off your back. And I think maybe they believe that the roster's good enough. And by the way, like they know that like there's just things about this team that need to be figured out. And we obviously, it could be that maybe they haven't gotten along. Like the Calvin Booth and Michael Malone don't speak to each other. So maybe it's a similar situation where Kleiman, who's a younger guy, doesn't like Mr. Taylor Jenkins. Or maybe he does. We don't know. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. What did you guys think of this whole situation? I think it's obviously one of the most interesting ones in recent memory, because yeah, like who would have thought that a coach would be fired right before the playoffs? Like if they had this feelings, they should have done earlier. But I really think at this point, looking glass half full, they're trying to get the offense to work. They're trying to get the defense. There's too much talent on here. Santi Aldama, Gigi Jackson, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bain, John Morant. All right. They even have, with Jalen Wells this season, and Scottie Pippen playing out of his mind, and Luke Kennard. I know Brandon Clark's out for the season, but there's just so much talent and so much depth on this team. Zach Edey, and that you know that they should be like Vince Williams Jr. Like, dude, there's so much talent that they should be better than what their record suggests. And to me, I think that's what you're looking at. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. And what do you guys think? And hit that like and subscribe button. But bye.